guys, Jay Nicole here. Welcome to my channel. If it's your first time, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell to make sure be notified every video that I post out. As this video will be different parts because it's going to be a pretty long video. And if it's not your first time, welcome back. So anyway, so this video is going to be mainly about my whole cancer journey. It's going to be from the symptoms that I had before finding out that I had cancer to finding out I had cancer, my whole chemo journey, and life after cancer. Like I said, it's going to be multiple parts, so if you haven't already, before I get rolling to the video, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button. So fast forward to February 2014, my menstrual cycle, it was becoming very irregular, and irregular meaning that I would bleed extremely heavy for about sometimes 2 weeks at a time, like non-stop. So since I didn't have health insurance, I waited for a little while, but then I eventually just went to the hospital one day when it was just really bad, and I was just really scared. So I went to the hospital and they diagnosed me with fibroids. They gave me a medication and sent me home and told me that if the bleeding didn't stop, then I'd have to have surgery to remove the fibroids. So I just took the medication home. I waited. I mean, the bleeding didn't stop. It was weird though, because it would sometimes for 2 weeks at a time, and then sometimes I didn't get anything for almost a month, or just randomly for a couple of days. It was just really weird. So it was weird. It was also weird because I noticed that every time I drank alcohol or coffee, like all of a sudden I just felt this feeling that I knew was gonna come down, and it came down really bad. And I know too much info, but I would have like ginormous clots. It was gross, and I'm sorry if it's too much info, but just in case anyone else is going through this, I need to share all of it. Fast forward to 2015, my boyfriend and I decided to move to the West Coast. So we're on the West Coast now. The heavy bleeding is still happening. I want to go back and have surgery because I didn't have insurance, and I don't know, I'm crazy. For a whole another 2 years, until 2017. I'm surprised I'm still alive. I've been bleeding so much. I noticed that I would be really sleepy all the time. Sometimes I would get lightheaded. So the day that I ended up in the hospital, I was at home because I had called out of work. Actually, the night before, I came home from work early because the bleeding was like out of control. Like all my pants were soaked at work. Well, before it got soaked, I actually would use Super Plus tampons and a pad, and in a matter of seconds, both were completely full. And so I'd have to wait in the bathroom sometimes for like 20 minutes at a time to wait till the bleeding stops. And then when I think it's done, it happens again. So that day, my pants were soaked, and I asked my manager if I can go home early. She said no problem. So I went home, and I wasn't feeling well at all. I was feeling really lightheaded. The next day, so I just went to sleep, and so the next day when I woke up, it was, my dizziness and lightheadedness was really bad. Like, I would stand up, and like literally less than 30 seconds, I feel like I'm gonna pass out, and I can't. I have to sit down. So I called my boyfriend at work, and I told him that throughout the day I wasn't feeling well. I called off of work and he said that we were just gonna go to the hospital. He was on his way home. So when he got home, he looked at me and he like was kind of freaking out. He said I looked really pale, like my lips were kind of gray, and that I needed to go to the hospital like right now. So I was like, all right, well, let me just take a quick shower. But being that I can't stand up for like more than 30 seconds, can you please just listen out for me to make sure I'm okay while I'm in the shower? So he sat on the bed and I went to the restroom, took a shower, and like literally this is what I remember. I walk into the shower, I turn it on, I put soap onto the sponge, and I scream, babe. I fall to my knees, and I don't remember anything else. I blacked out. So he says he came in and he actually caught me before I fell. And so I woke up on the bed, and when I woke up I waited a couple seconds so that I could actually sit up and put my clothes on so that we can go to the hospital. But first, being the brat that I am, and whatever, he just gave it to me because I was being a brat, I stopped and got ice because I had a really weird ice craving, which I found out later that having like ridiculous ice cravings like a pregnant woman craves food is due to being anemic. So if anyone has ice cravings like that, check to make sure you're not anemic. So anyway, so we stopped. I mean, I was feeling better a little bit, so we stopped and got the best ice in the world at Cane's. They have like a lemonade and their ice is like that crushed ice. It was so good. So we went to the hospital, and when I got there, they told me that, they took a look at me and they put me in right away to get my blood work and all that good stuff. So when they did my blood, they said that I was severely anemic, that my hemoglobin was at a 5, when your hemoglobin, or a woman's hemoglobin, is supposed to be between, I think it's 12 and 15. And it was at a 5. So they admitted me pretty quickly. I ended up having to get a blood transfusion. I got 4 big bags full of blood, and I felt like a little vampire. Like literally when the blood was going into me, I could see my color coming back. I felt a lot better. Before the whole blood transfusion, we did tests. We did like the ultrasound and a whole bunch of other tests just so that they can see what's wrong with me. So they decided to keep me in the hospital for a few more days because they found a large mass in my cervix. And so they wanted to do a biopsy. Like it was a minimal surgery. They put me under anesthesia, which was the first time I ever did that, so I was kind of scared. But the surgeon, he was very reassuring that everything would be okay. So we did that, and results came in about a day later. I think it was a day later. And they told me that the mass was cancerous. So I really didn't know how to react because I just never thought that this could happen to me. Like every time I saw a movie with someone that had cancer or anything with someone else having cancer, I'd always like shed a tear because I felt bad. But when I found out, I was more shocked, I guess, because I didn't cry or anything. I was just like quiet and shocked. So they let that sink into my head, I guess, before they wanted to tell me that I would also have to have a partial hysterectomy in order to get most all of the mass. So when they told me that, that was heartbreaking. To know that I would never be able to have kids. Like, anyone that knows me knows that I love kids and I've always wanted to be a mom. My boyfriend and I had decided to wait on kids for a while just to get financially stable. Right now, we're living on the West Coast, not sure if we're gonna stay out here. So we wanted to wait till we were settled pretty much. And when they told us that, it was so heartbreaking. Like, I cried. I told them no, I don't want it. I don't care what they have to do. They have to go around it. I can't have a hysterectomy. I have to have kids. I don't have kids yet. I'm too young. Like, it was horrible. Just the fact that I'm not able to provide my boyfriend of 11 years with children. I mean, I did have my eggs. A partial hysterectomy, you still keep your ovaries. So I had my eggs, but I don't know. It was just hard. It was really, really hard. So, he let me stay in the hospital. He asked me if I wanted to stay another night, and I said yes. So we stayed another night in the hospital, and then I checked out, and it was time to do all the tests. So now we have to go to these clinics to see if they can preserve my eggs if I ever wanted to have kids. And so we went to a fertility clinic, and she checked and she said my eggs were good, that I had a lot of them. So I was excited, you know, it gave me a little bit of hope. So we waited a little bit to talk to the lady in the office and find out about prices and what they can do to help, if there's any certain plans or whatever for payment. So we got into the office and we spoke with the lady, and the pricing is ridiculous. It's like, I think it was like $10,000 per egg or something like that, just to freeze the egg. Then if I wanted to get a surrogate, it would be like another $20,000 or more. So I mean, I knew I couldn't afford it anyway, so I couldn't freeze my eggs. And the whole surrogate thing, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that anytime soon. Or at the moment, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to do that. So we left the office disappointed once again. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell, so that way when I post the next video, you're able to get notified and continue to watch my video. Thanks for watching.